Have a really good think, because somebody you know could earn you a lot of money for very little effort. Think, who do you know that wants to buy a property in Spain? A colleague, a mate, someone in your family, a friend of a friend? If you know someone, go to welcome-estates.com and click the Refer a Friend link. If they buy, you'll pocket a nice chunky thank you from one of Spain's leading estate agents. T's and C's apply. All details at welcome-estates.com.
Hello, all you hardcores out there. How you doing? It's Russ here from Porky's Corner, biggest gob in sport. Richard should be joining us any minute. Don't know where he is. Have a look. Don't appear to have logged on. So I'll keep it going anyway. There were a lot of boxing on last night, wasn't there? I noticed that Tank dealt with what the kid's name, Garcia. Hello, Richard.
Hey, mate, how you doing?
All right, mate. Yeah, it's rolling. We just missed you by a few seconds. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm all right. Have we got mixed up with times or something? Because it's 10:30 here.
I think that you sent an invite, but it's come through on my calendar as all day, so that's why I thought I'd check.
It don't matter, mate. We're all right. We'll keep it rolling. What's weather like?
Yeah, it's pretty. It's overcast, but it's about 14, 15 degrees, so it's not too bad, mate.
Oh, that's
I
good.
can sit on the balcony and have one of these, so that my world is good.
Go on, lad. Go on, lad. Did you see any boxing last night?
No, I was out last night.
I only watched Tank fight. The rest of it's just basically highlights. But he dealt with Garcia early. You know what I mean? Just got him out of there. Or middle.
Yeah, it's easy to say now and no result, but I thought he'd stop in mid to late myself, probably mid. So
did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I thought you were favourite, but so for once I got one of my own predictions came true. I've had a bet on that one.
You don't have a bet on it, Richard? No, you don't have a bet.
No. I've not got an online account or anything like that. So I do it the old school OG way of popping into bookies when I'm back in UK when I have something. So I've got no way of having a bet when I'm over here. I don't want to start an online account. It's not for me.
Yeah, I thought he'd get him late on actually, but he got him early, didn't he? I think he was 6th or 7th on it. I thought it'd go a bit quicker than that,
but good fight. One of the few fights that you look forward to, and like I say, I couldn't watch it. I'm over here, so
fair play to him, pal, for putting it on. But let's have it right. The fighters, it's the job to fight each other when they're undefeated. They've got to give fans these two guys undefeated going at it, because if they don't, fans are going to turn off. These fights are very few and far between, the 2 and 3 a year, if we're lucky, out of the thousands that go on. You see where I'm coming from? And yeah, we're all creaming as pants about that. I wasn't really bothered about anything else except that. But what I want to make is there's got to be more of these, and the British have to take lead from it.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's one of the reasons why I've sort of, as you know, and people who watch this channel now, that's one of the reasons why I just don't invest as much as I used to do.
Yeah,
because that's one of the many reasons we don't get the fights. There's really no excuse, especially when they've made a bundle of money already. You'd think that their own pride and really want to test themselves and knows the best. You know what I mean? That's what I would hope for. I can understand it when they're on their arse and they've not got two pennies to rub together and they want to build up a bit of a nest egg for the future. That is understandable. And promoters have got to get their investment back. They've got to learn and they've got to get themselves in best possible position they can, so that when they are ready to be at that level, they can show themselves having a good performance and be at the right level. But when they're at that point, there's no excuses there.
No. We had it with Riddick Bowe and Lennox Lewis, didn't we? It didn't happen. And Calzaghe and Carl Froch didn't happen. Witter Patton didn't happen. the list goes on. Fury Joshua's not happening, is it yet? They're still up in arms, aren't they? Why can't these promoters work together?
You know why, mate? It's money. It's they take the lead from the boxers first and foremost, but you can't tell me that Eddie Hearn doesn't want to milk Joshua for several more fights. You know, if he gets 30, 40 million from fighting Fury, but he can get 80 million from having 4 or 5 fights, what are they going to choose?
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
You know, well, why do you think that Lewis and Bo didn't fight? Who do you think was to blame?
I think they were both unsure about each other myself. I know Everett Bo gets a lot of blame, but some of the offers that were flying about and that for the cut they expected them to have, and the promoters get, it's all about greed. Listen, when you've got all these characters in mix, there's a problem. I've seen it myself. I've spoken to people, and before people have got in meeting, say, "You up for a fight?" And yeah, I just want to fight, me. And then you go in meeting, and then you just hear the biggest load of knackers, people chatting knackers for the sake of it, and looking for ways not to fight. I'm like, well, what are we getting involved with here? Hey, where we're going? I said, Dennis, where we're going with this here? Tommy Frank, when I always go off my head on that one, he's like, well, we're going to go a different route. I said, different route? You're mandated for a British title. Are you out your minds? What are you in the sport for? You're going to try and get an IBO international for him or something? Or IBF Europe? Oh, my, European. Look, you're in the sport to fight. It's like this with Big Phrase. It's Big Phrase. Big giant Karamak Easter egg. He's stood there going on about Eddie Hearn that make the rules, this and that. Look, you're mandated to fight for British against Wardley. Fight him next. I don't want to hear all this. You need another fight and all that. If you're coming out with nonsense like that, it means you're unsure at the moment. You're an Olympic bronze. Fabio Wardley's ex-white collar. Why are you stalling, you giant Easter egg?
It's a good question, but I think that what I've just said, you know, Eddie Hearn's invested in Fraser Clark, and he wants to return that money.
You've got it wrong, Richard. You've got it wrong.
Sure.
He's invested in Wardley.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. I meant Wardley. But my point is, they're unsure. Just pick your point up. They want some money back, and they want to get some longevity out of it. Sorry, of course, he's invested in Wardley.
Yeah, but he
just shows you, mate. I'm 6 months off, and I'm all over the place.
You went berserk, didn't you? That day we went to B&Q in your car. You were like, "I'm done with it, pork." Yeah, you were all like, "No, I'm done. It was driving you crazy." I think what tipped you over edge with all that Joshua Fury chat, wasn't it?
Joshua Fury, Conor Benn drugs thing. A few things came at once, and I just thought, where are we going with all this? It's just not worth, you know, like I said in the car on the way, like
Hey, I've had a bit of good news today.
I just thought, why all this time? You what, mate?
I've had a bit of good news today.
Say again, bud.
I've had a bit of good news today.
Oh, go on.
Do you know that cretin Max out of a P?
Yeah.
He texted me last night, right, late, saying how Perry House beat Reeves. I nearly spilt my cocoa in bed, you know, and he fell out of bed. Steam were coming off my fingers on my phone on BoxRec. I thought he hadn't beat him. Gee, I went, as he fucked Max. Anyway, I checked on BoxRec early hours. Swear to God, mate, I couldn't see any movement on it. So obviously Steffi Bull had not put things in or with board or something to BoxRec. So I thought, Jesus. And then I'm not going to say who, but somebody just texted me just now and gone, "Don't worry, you got beat." Oh, I'm all right now. I'm gonna have a good day today, like, because let's have it right. There ain't a good parts at River Don to jump in, is there?
Well, there's one place where that cafe is at Ender Park Gates before you get to Retail World, mate. You'd have been all right just dipping in and out there and then getting a cup of coffee straight after.
It's a bit shallow around there, isn't it? I've heard.
Yeah, you'd have been all right, so don't worry. Everything will be okay. 15 or 20 years ago, you'd have brought you back out with no toes on, wouldn't you?
Yeah, with piranhas in there. But people keep saying to me, now you've got to jump in Riverdon at back at factory. So I went and had a look. You know what I'm on about that bit, don't you? Looks like there's old cars and all sorts in there and that. I'm not jumping in there.
What's
Anyway,
that?
lad, well done.
What's happening with your mate, Carl Froch, with all this talk of fighting Conor McGregor and everybody else? What's happening there?
Nah, he just loves a bit of PR. He's not going to fight him, surely.
I don't know, but you know your mate, he likes pound, doesn't he?
He's on wound up in the all time Cobra, and he just likes to keep his Senate mixed. And he's beefed his YouTube channel up now.
Yeah, I've seen a bit of it. Like I say, I don't watch as much as I used to, but I've caught a bit of it.
Actually, I've watched him.
Yeah, he makes me smile.
He's got a few years to go before he's as comfortable as the pork in front of the camera, though.
He'll have to get you on. He'll have to get you on, bud.
He's got Rach reading questions out for him. Team effort. Good choice, Carl. Good choice. Behind every good man is a good woman.
Yeah, he's not going to spend anything on getting somebody else to ask him any questions, is it?
No, that's it. I mean, I don't mind going down there, but I'm £100 a throw now to leave the house. Told Dennis, because I've got Dennis on Zoom this week, but he keeps swerving me because I'm going to put it on him, aren't I? So Dennis, there's no easy rides now. You're not paying, but yeah, I'd have gone down and read questions to Cobra for a cup of green tea and a Bakewell fitness bar. It's like eating bark.
What fights you looking forward to coming up, mate?
You know what, mate? I'd like to see Dylan White against Joe Joyce because I think they're both in no man's land, aren't they? I don't think it's a good move for him to take Zhang on. Didn't they learn anything from David Price or George Groves?
I tell you what, though, I like everybody else, I picked Joe Joyce in that fight.
I did.
I thought it was like a 65-35 fight. I didn't think it was a walkover, not at all. But I did get him. I did have him, pick him late on. Like all his fights, I thought like everybody else, he'd get to him towards the end. So it was a surprise.
Yeah. Did you think that? What were we on about then?
You were on about Dylan White and
Dylan White. Yeah. Did you think that Sam Jones had hyped Joyce up that much, where they kept doing them videos and they put that story in when it Daily Mail about Joe Joyce's bone density is 6 times stronger than the average human being, and all they were building him up as like the bionic man, weren't they? I expected Lee Majors bursting into the ring. Do you know what I mean? $6 million man, except all we got was Big Slow Joe.
Yeah, I think that. I'm still a fan of his. I think he can maybe do something. I think that he obviously got his tactics wrong. This is another question about the trainers. I mean, what were they telling him to do? What plan B and plan C did they have? I mean, if you listen to Peter, we both like listening to Peter, don't we? Because he talks sense.
Yeah.
What plan B and plan C did he have? After rounds 3 and 4, when he could see that he was struggling against obviously a southpaw. What alternative plan did they have? It wasn't. It was just more of the same, wasn't it?
You have to change it up, don't you? Most fighters have got a plan A and a plan B, haven't they? In big fights like that, he never had a plan B, did he? Do you know what I mean? Most fighters switch it up, don't they?
Yeah, and that's for Sam Jones. I don't know the guy. Got nothing. I don't like being personal about people, but I just think it comes across as being not very bright to me. He really does. I don't know
nice
where.
Kid, right? He's a nice kid. I was talking to Dennis. He's a nice kid. But other people tell me that he's enthusiastic but he gets excited. Now I can imagine him being sat in a room. His guys, the WBO, and they should be sending letters now for this fight, right? With Usyk, yeah. Right?
Yeah.
They aren't, have they? So whatever's gone on, whether there's been step aside or whatever, they're not going to say, right? If there is step aside, they'll tell you. If they don't, they won't tell you. But something's gone on where that kid's been kept out of way, Joe Joyce, right? When letters should have been fired off. If that had been Hennessy, that would have been a letter. It would have been court action. My guy's mandatory. You defend your corner. You don't let other promoters. If this has happened, and I've heard it has, but it's allegedly, you don't let other promoters say to you, look, we're going to park Joe up, but we're going to look after your other fighters. That is the worst mistake young promoters make coming into the game, or young managers. They make the point, and I know people around here that have done it because they have to do it to get on, but it's wrong. But if he'd have gone after WBO with a letter, it would have been messy, wouldn't it, for him, for Joe?
Yeah, I get the same impression. He does enthusiastic. He's excitable, but he's in his 30s now. He needs to calm down a little bit. He just don't come across as being very bright. Some of the things he says just leave you scratching your head, don't they?
What, like bone density and freakish power?
Yeah. He's the job of a promoter is to promote. I mean, I don't think he's his promoter. He's not been for a long time, has he? But he was at one time, and I think the job of a promoter is to promote. But you need to give fans a bit of a break, don't you? And
what about this comparisons, Richard? You seem to compare fighters from the 70s to these. Oh, Joyce was George Foreman. Joshua's Ali. Do you remember the Ali comparison with Joshua? Muhammad Ali. Hey? Compared to Joshua. Oh my God. What is all that about?
I don't know, mate. Especially when you've got people our age who view Ali as a bit of. I ain't got any heroes, but he is as close as it comes to for me, Ali. So I'm still not getting over the Gads comments about what's her name, Ebony Bridges, saying she was a female Ali. I almost jumped in car and drove down to London and fronted him up over that film, and it just what an absolute nonsense. It drives me insane. It really does.
Mate, the Gad is a character, and he's built himself up as this go-to guy now for everybody to pour their heart out to. I mean, I've just looked at a video now. He stood talking to Ellie Brook, and he says to her, this bird Mark Tibbs was training. He says, Ellie, your thighs are so powerful. Is that where you generate your power from? Let's have a look at those thighs. And he stood behind her. They were zooming in on her thighs, so she's tensing her thighs up. Then I've just seen another interview she's done today, and she's saying, oh, she'd like to SHAG. Oh, this is on IFL. So these journalists are interviewing her, and they're putting these titles. Do you see me put titles up like that? Hey, they're putting these titles up, and I'm like, what on earth are they doing?
Just clickbait, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's pure filth, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just clickbait, mate, and to do anything to generate revenue. That's what it's all about. It's all about the cash. We all know that. So, what can you do?
Yeah, go on, sorry.
I just say, what can you do? It's all about the cash. They're not interested in anything.
What happened with Crusher then?
I think they're going to have to get a return on their investment again. So they'll put a fight on where he can get a license. That's what it's going to be like. He's not going to sit around for 2 years, is he? And appeal and try and win either take a ban or win a case. He's going to just, he's all about the money. He has been since he burst on the scene. And if you can generate money in Saudi or somewhere in the States, get a license in one of these states that don't care about drugs, they'll do it. And there'll be plenty of people willing to take it, even if it's a 45-year-old Pacquiao. I've read that he's not on his backside, but he's gambled away millions and all that nonsense. So, they just can't help themselves. And, if Ben's got a chance to make a few million in Saudi or in Africa or in the States, he will do. Don't you think?
Yeah, I agree. I've heard Pacquiao's done over 100 million gambling. Mayweather has, but he's still earning Mayweather, isn't he? Holyfield did all his in, didn't he? 300 million, didn't he, in the casinos?
I don't know if was it casinos or Holyfield, or was it his 6 marriages?
Casinos, roulette, blackjack. Is that one where ball bounces round and it spins round? That one, what's that called?
That's roulette.
Red or black?
Roulette. When there's a bulletin gun, it's Russian roulette.
That's AJ Hobson's favourite. That one where it goes in red or black. Whatever colour you go for, it goes in other one. I stood watching.
Yeah.
That's Dave Howard about Russian roulette. I only like pontoon anyway, mate. I don't mind. I can actually read deck. put my mind to it.
Brilliant.
That's a read deck if you put your mind to it. All it takes. There's a thing online shows you how to read deck. It takes you about 2 weeks. Right? I've practiced out of jail, but with plenty of practice, isn't there? Patience is a good one. Border control, Richard, at the moment, they look like they're on back foot. He's been at the helm 15 years. All of a sudden, they now want to get their arse into gear, don't they, to stop this Conor Benn thing. But we haven't seen that same urgency from other fighters. The Amir Khan one, and I think Eddie Hills, as much as I detest him, I only detest him how he behaves. I don't detest his work ethic. I just detest his basically his personality, because nobody gets him, do they? But they don't send out. But basically, what we're on about, and then I fucking forgot, make me memories that shot to bits.
British border control.
Oh, British boxing border control. Basically, border now. Well, they're cracking whip, aren't they? Wanted to do the right thing, but since when have they ever done the right thing? Let's have it right. They were filling the nappies when all this come out. They didn't know what to do, did they?
No, I do think that they've not had as much criticism in the last 10 years as they have in the last 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And I think you know, there's bigger platforms now. There's bigger platforms. You've been on about it for years, but there's people like Talk Sport getting on the case, aren't they? And people like that, people with a lot of clout chipping in and saying how wrong it is, and partly because they have to. Because if they're not talking about what fans are seeing, they're not relevant, are they?
It's not really their fault. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, you know, I've given Spencer Oliver plenty stick for what he's done. I mean, they've all had to do what they've done to get a shilling, haven't they? But Spencer Oliver, let's have it right, he's on TalkSport going on about, yeah, he was the one that brought YouTubers over and all that and got involved with KSI and that. Well, that's not to brag about, jug ears, but I'm going to give jug ears a pat on back. And if I were doing Heroes of the Month and I were voting for it, I'd give him it, because he's done his job, and they've done the job. Simon Jordan, Adam Cattrall, they've done the job, and them lads have put themselves in awkward situations. Now, a lot of people won't get the opportunity to go to boxing after parties and VIP stuff and blah, blah, blah. But let me tell you this, they'll go to them, that lot, but they'll be really uncomfortable now. And they've had to do it, haven't they? They put the sends. You can't be everybody's mate. And this will happen to Coogan and them in the end, because when things go wrong for people in boxing, no matter how much you hang out the back of them, people get the blame, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, IFL is. I mean, you mentioned that IFL they're just what they are, aren't they? They're everybody's mate, and they want to pat everybody on back, and they want to be they want to be friendly to everybody. They ask one or two questions, and that's it. But they're never going to put themselves in a place when they haven't got access. It's just not happening.
Yeah, but my argument this week, right? And I might even do a weapon at week over it. Charlie Sims has come out and done his interview. It's the best time I've ever seen him. He looks like Cat Weasel. Well, he's come out and done this interview, and what an utter lob he is, right? And then Umar, who I thought, turning into a proper hardcore journo, said, Charlie, whose idea was it then? Who advised Conor Benn to do the Piers Morgan interview? And I thought, do you know what, Umar? You are my hero now, Umar. You are my hero. And then he's gone, well, you know what? It was always going to be a difficult interview with Piers. He took him down other avenues. Rule number one, Umar, don't let him take you down avenues when you've got him on the hook. What's he going to do? He went down other avenues with him, and it got away from him questioning what he'd asked. That's probably something I'd do, because my memory's shot to bits. But Umar's memory ain't shot to bits. He's got 30 years on me. He bottled it. And you know you did, Umar, you little bottle job. That's my opinion, anyway.
Yeah.
But, Richard, I'll say this. Nigel Benn, Charlie Sims, Tony Sims already. It's one of them four all the lot. So we don't care anyway, really, because we know, don't we? And Connor's the grown man, 27-year-old. He's got to make his own decision. You're badly advised. Now they're going to have to turn waterworks on, aren't they? Cap in hand and bit poster boy for drug PEDs, isn't it? That's on cards now, isn't it?
What's on cards is, I think, as I just just said he's going to be fighting in places and get a license, and he's just going to play hard face. I don't think he's going to get waterworks on. I think he's just going to front it up. He's going to deny. He's going to do the old shaggy. It wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
He's just going to do that. He's just going to deny, and then it'll just, people get fed up with it, and he'll just keep earning millions and millions of pounds fighting in other places. And when he gets into a position, let's just say, for example, if it's a big if, but if he wins a world title with the WBC, do you think that British fighters and British promoters who have all been slating him, if they got a chance to put their fighters in with him in America or somewhere else, if he'd got a belt, do you think they wouldn't do it on principle?
Yeah, they would.
They'd be racing towards it. Or if it were a unification or an undisputed fight, it wouldn't make any difference. They'd all forget about it. It's just like an excuse about Conor Benn and what's his name, babyface Jarrell Miller. It's totally different. He only chooses to believe Conor Benn because it suits him. He believes him, so that's the difference. What a load of cobblers! It's just knackers, isn't it?
Utter knackers. Boxing promoters will find a way around anything. Look at Big Ron. Big Ron couldn't get out on an arena, and he was like, "What am I going to do here?" So what did he do? He put him on Attercliff car park, didn't he? Or whatever it went up there, didn't he? You know what I mean? Why not? Did it properly and got it passed. So fair play to him. He couldn't sell tickets for Jamie McDonald fight. He had Chris Smedley driving round Doncaster Town Centre with one of them, them things that they have on a little van. Vote Labour, vote Conservative, them bigger tannoy things. Chris Smedley and somebody else driving round Donny Town Centre. Jamie McDonald versus Dino tomorrow night. Rovers Ground. What was that other one where he had that band from Sheffield going round? There were only about 6 or 7 of them, but they were going round Vegas. There's only one Ricky Hatton, and I know crowds joined who were pissed up, and it made it look like this army going round. And then they'd report back to Dennis next at the swimming pool, and he'd be there, wouldn't he, with big mobile phone and one big heavy ones. He'd be like, "Yeah, do another lap." That's a true story, that. And he sent them around doing another lap, and they were all doing that in Wednesday talk. Can you imagine that?
Big mobile phones. I had a car phone in my Vauxhall Carlton.
Well, not big ones, but bigger than they are now. Back then. But little innovative ideas, and if Eddie can get it put on, do I wish him good luck? No, because I don't agree with it, but they will. And it's boxing. It's the Wild Wild West.
It is the Wild West. It is the Wild West. I'm not sure he will win a world title. I'm not sure about that at all. I think before I was warming to Conor Benn before all this came out. I was supporting him. I was hoping he'd do well for loads of different reasons. I liked his dad at the time. We all did at the time in the 90s. And I wanted him to.
What a disappointment to meet in real life.
Yeah, you told me, mate. Yeah, I mean, I'm just talking about his boxing and everything else. So I wanted.
What a fighter!
Yeah, I wanted Conor Benn to do well, but I think, like I say, what's going to happen is, if it's a big if, but if he wins a belt, and WBC have come out and supported him, if he wins a belt, all this will be forgotten about. If Eddie, Bricktop, ask Dennis, put it on Dennis. If Dennis had got a fighter, and he got into a position where he could fight Conor Benn for a world championship in the distant future, would he do it or wouldn't he? And, it might be a good question to ask. I don't know.
Yeah, it's...
He'd probably give you an honest answer, I imagine.
Well,
let me put it a different way, Russ. Yeah. If you've got your son, and it's difficult because you don't want to put your son in with somebody who might be on drugs, but if you've got a son, you're on his arse, he got a mortgage, 200 grand mortgage, he was struggling to pay it, they were a boxer, and he said, right, you've got a chance to fight Conor Benn for a couple of mil in Vegas. What would you do?
So get your stuff, you're going. Get your stuff, you're going. I'm your advisor. I'm the new Sam Jones. Just sign here.
Get your stuff. We're going. That's what you'd say.
get your stuff. I can't go to Vegas, but I'd send somebody else to make sure I got my lolly.
Oh, you can't go, can you?
No, I can't go, mate. Hey, listen, I tried to go for Crotch Ward, but no, it's a nightmare trying to get out there. Peter Fury tried, didn't he? He said, I'm still going. To Cunningham fight, they went Canada, didn't they? And then tried to get in for Michigan or something on a train. But they grabbed Peter, locked him up in a cell, sent him back within a few hours.
Well, at least he tried.
Yeah, listen, did his best for his fighter, didn't he? Look what happened on night. He got dropped, didn't he, Tyson?
Yeah, he did. He did. And then elbowed him.
Hey, listen, he did what he had to do. Hey, listen, protect your son at all times in there. Hey, listen, he's got a lot in his arsenal, Tyson, hasn't he? A lot in his arsenal. If he's struggling in fights, he's got a lot to.
They know what to do, don't they? I mean, look at you talk about these fighters. Look at Mayweather when he sucker punched. What's his name? That were beautiful, weren't it?
Well, look what Tyson says about Cunningham. He said couldn't contain him. He said I couldn't contain him. Didn't know what to do, so he had to roughhouse him, didn't he? And that's what great champions do. Great champions do that, don't they?
You got to do what you can within the rules, haven't you?
Yeah. What do you see happening with Derek Warchizora and Dylan White now? They're calling out Zhang in China, aren't they? That shit gets hanged. Do you know what I mean? They're calling out him in China. What do you think? Think they're going to fight again, Dylan and Derek?
I don't see Derek Chisora in a ring again, and I just don't want to see it. I think it's painful. Dillian White, I think there's a big question mark over him in his fight against what's his name, who's just lost to Joshua. It made that loss. Joshua made that Dillian White loss look a little bit. Win. Sorry, it made Dillian White's win look a little bit better because it sort of leveled the playground a little bit. But I think there's a question mark against White because he looked bad, didn't he, in that victory? He looked bad.
Yeah, he did.
So I think that probably they look at Zhang, Chisora and White look at Zhang and think he's slow. He's slow, ponderous. He's got some power, but it's not knockout, one punch power. It's like similar sort to Joyce, where he wears you down over a period of time. They both think they're really tough, which they are. You know, you can't take that away from the tough blokes. And they probably think that they're faster than Zhang, even at, I don't know how old Chisora, 56. But I think that they probably think they can deal with him because he's a little bit ponderous himself. But it might be a bad idea because he's a tough fella himself and he might just wear them down. They weren't queuing up to fight Joyce, were they?
No.
They weren't. But you know yourself, it's styles, isn't it? So I think that Chisora reckons that he can stand it for a few and get to him at some point in time and catch him. But Zhang's last two fights, his loss against what's his name? His points loss against, who did he fight?
Ergovic,
yeah. His last points loss against Ergovic. He made Ergovic look very, very slow and ordinary, didn't he? He made Dillian White look very ordinary.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's an easy prospect. I mean, I bought into it. Like I said earlier, I thought that Joyce were going to get to him mid to late rounds, and I was shocked.
You mean he made Joyce look ordinary?
I think he did make Joyce look ordinary. I think, like I said, I went totally shocked because I thought he's dangerous to anybody. He's 6'6" and he's nearly 20 stone, so he's always going to be. And he's a medalist, isn't he? So he's always going to be dangerous.
Both Olympic medalists, both silver Olympics, weren't they?
Yeah. So I didn't discount him. I just thought Joyce were too young too young. He's younger than he is. Too young and it'd get to him. But I was surprised. So I think it'd be. I don't think it's going to be as easy as they thought if they got in the ring with Zhang. And Chisora's made enough money. And he needs to get out while he's got half a brain.
You think that extra 4 year that Zhang had in pros over Joyce make difference? Because Joyce won a silver in 16 and he got one in 08, didn't he? But he's Joyce carried on for 12 Olympics. Joshua done him in there, so he's got 4 year on Joyce, hasn't he, as a pro?
Yeah, and Joyce hasn't been active, has he?
No.
None of them have. Name a British heavyweight other than Chisora who gets his head punched in regularly. Who's been active?
Dave Allen used to get his head punched in, didn't he?
Yeah, but he's not on scene, is he? He's not like a contender.
Yeah.
So what contenders in the UK has been active in the last 5 years?
Not many, is there?
No, there's not. It's shameful, really. I'm not bothered about COVID. I'm fed up of talking about it. I'm not interested in it. Like you said earlier, Dennis managed to put fights on. Other UFC managed to put fights on. You know, put it on in your back garden if you want to keep your heavyweight active.
They could put on Eddie's garden and charge more pay-per-view. But
yeah, all fighters could have taken a bit less money.
Yeah.
You know, there's loads of fighters. You know better than me, Russ. There's loads of fighters underneath that top level who are earning tens of thousands of pounds rather than tens of millions. Why can't Joshua earn a few $100,000 a fight rather than a few million?
Yeah, why does he have to have the millions?
Yeah, he's got, you know, I know they're in it for one reason, but like I say, there comes a point, as I said earlier, where when you're at a certain level, you'd think that they would, you talk about this warrior stuff, they think that they would have some pride. You know what I mean? You think they'd have some fire in the belly to think, I want to know if I'm better than that bloke. I've got enough money. I want to know if I'm better. If I'm not, I'm not. Fair play to you. I'm off. But now I'm sorted out financially, I want to find out who is the best. That's why they get in it.
And do you think that's why this Saudi thing will not happen? Too many cooks spoil the broth.
You mean, are you talking Fury Joshua?
Fury Joshua, Wilder Joshua, Usyk, all that lot it makes it.
Mate, they all get this in the minds. They all get this. It's a super fight. It should generate hundreds of millions for them each. The only way that people get paid hundreds of millions is if you're a big star in America, you are American, and you can charge $100 per pay-per-view, which they do on a regular basis. The difference is the pay-per-view money. In the UK, when you're relying on UK subscribers to pay 30 quid, and there's 2 million buys or 1.5 million buys, it doesn't generate as much as a 1.5, 2 million buys at $100 each, does it? It's a no-brainer. So they're never going to get paid hundreds of millions each all the time.
Yeah.
They just think if they see 100, they want 150. If they see 150, they want 200 million. They can't get it out of their heads. It's just my opinion. Yeah. But it's like everything else. You've got to have it in your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you've got it in your hand, don't worry about everything else. Get it. Somebody offers you 100 million. You don't go, I want 150. Take it.
Richard.
Take that 100 million. Take that 50 million. Take that 10 million.
Yeah. I'll not tell anybody your negotiating skills, Richard, shall I? Because you're tough. So don't you be coming out with any of that. Backing Josh. Because you're worse than him and fucking the Gypsy King. Jesus Christ, Richard, come on. Kettle corn frying pan there, mate.
Pot kettle.
You went, Dennis looked tame. Whereas I've got something bubbling, leave it to me. But listen, you've been a great fan. Come on, mate. Thank you. I hope you enjoy it over there. Looks nice.
Yeah, you too, mate. We'll catch you. We'll catch you when I get back. I'm off to Saint-Tropez straight next. Got 2 more weeks here, then I'm off to Saint-Tropez for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I wish I'd used my loaf when I left school, Richard. All right, pal.
Well, you can never take that. Yeah. You can never take that off you. They can never take these off you. Remember that.
All right, mate. You take care.
All right, mate.
Right.
Good speaking to you, bud. See you later.
Right.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, pal. That was my mate Richard in Germany. Must be nice. Hey, must be nice. Living it large, but he puts the graft in. So, okie dokie. That's about it, really. And just before I go, if anybody's interested in an extra few quid, get in touch. porkycorner@mail.com. I'll send you a link. All you got to do is put it on your social medias. It's just like buying a lottery ticket. You got to be in it to win it. But you don't have to buy a lottery ticket there with me, your Uncle Porky, because it's free. Peace out.
Porky's Corner is proud to be sponsored by Spartan Site Solutions. They are specialists in civil engineering and demolition contracts for the construction industry. Interested parties should visit their website or contact Porky's Corner for a referral at porkycorner@mail.com.